What's up everybody, it's your man Gillis the Kid. I'm back with another video, and this time I'm going to be showing you the Nintendo GameCube years later. Now the Nintendo GameCube, when it first came out, it was the successor to the Nintendo 64. It had a slightly upgraded processor from IBM. As you can see, they didn't really put too much of design into it. It was basically a small cube with a handle on the back. I'll show you the back right here. It had a handle, so you can basically pick it up like this, and you can carry it to your friend's house. Definitely designed for small kids and stuff like that. But one thing it did have good was the controller. The controller was absolutely amazing. It had the Z button on top. These are the triggers. So your fingers wrapped around the triggers real nicely. And, they got rid of that horrible N64 controller. It had a real joystick this time. It had a D-pad with the C sticks and 4 buttons, the B, A, Y, and X button. Now this is a third-party controller. The real Nintendo 64 controllers, they had like the logos and stuff on it. But if this was a real Nintendo GameCube controller, it would have had like Nintendo GameCube right here. But it's modeled right after, the original ones. It has like the built-in vibration and everything. Definitely a controller that you would want to use, and it fitted perfectly in your hand. You can even use these on the Nintendo Switch, I hear, through like an adapter. But the Nintendo GameCube controller was definitely one of the best controllers Nintendo came up with. Now when this system came out, it did have 4 controller ports, just like the Nintendo 64. Like I said, this is where you put the the memory card. You would basically just slide it in like that. And this was the first console to have like optical discs. It was basically a mini DVD format. Kind of weird at the time when it first came out. I'll show you what it looks like. So, this is the game Super Mario Sunshine. And here's the mini disc. Look at this. Look at that. Mini optical disc. Now, the one good thing about these discs is, it loaded really, really fast. But it didn't hold a lot of data like the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox DVDs did. But because of the disc being so small, it held a reasonable amount of data, maybe about, say, like 2 gigabytes or something like that. But, the games, they loaded very, very fast because, you didn't have a huge disc to deal with. But I'll show you some of the games in a minute. Now, the Nintendo GameCube, if you look at the bottom right here, let me see if I can show you. If you look at the bottom, it had like an adapter piece for the Game Boy Advance. It was like a case that you slapped on the bottom, and you could play Game Boy Advance and stuff like that. It came off like this. This is another port, so that's basically what the bottom looked like. And for some reason, Nintendo, they don't care too much about online gaming. Even though this did have sort of a way to play online, by the time it came out, the Nintendo GameCube is already dead. So, that's Nintendo for you. They don't really care too much about online gaming. But on top right here, they got the, let me see if I can show you. They got the Nintendo logo right there. There's a power button. There's a reset button. and there is an open button with the GameCube logo on top. That's how it opened, and you know, that's basically the inside, and you can put the disc in. Actually, I can show you real quick. You can put one of these mini discs in. Basically, it just went in like that, and there you have it. And you would close it, and there's your mini disc. But you know, I liked the GameCube when it first came out. It had about 600 something games on there, but it didn't have a lot of third-party support. Nintendo basically carried this console for 7 years, but it had some memorable games like Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes, which is only on the Nintendo GameCube. It was basically a remake of the old Metal Gear from the PlayStation. It was real good too, and like I said, you can only get it on the Nintendo GameCube. But here are some of the games, some of the memorable games. You have Super Mario Sunshine. This game was criticized because Mario had like a jetpack on his back. You have The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. And this game was actually on the Wii. It was ported over to the Wii, but it was weird. Like, the whole game was reversed. It had, you know, weird controls. This game was definitely made for the Nintendo GameCube. Then you have The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and the Master Quest. That was also ported over from the Nintendo 64. You have the, we've got the Splinter Cell series, Pandora Tomorrow, and you have the Wind Waker, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. This was when Zelda became cel-shaded. It looked sort of like a cartoon. And then they have Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2. This is the sequel to Rogue Squadron on the Nintendo 64. And then for a while we didn't have a Star Fox game, and then came this one, Star Fox Assault. So, you know, just a couple of games, a couple of good games that came out for the system. I'll drop them down in the description below. There are a couple more hidden gems that I would recommend. But you know, this system, it's very memorable. If you're ever going to, you know, buy a retro Nintendo console, the Nintendo GameCube would definitely be your best bet, because most of the Nintendo 64 games were ported over. Now, in 2002, you know, the PlayStation 2 was very popular. The first Xbox came out, and you know, the Sega Dreamcast was pretty much on its last leg. There are some Sega Dreamcast games that was ported over to the GameCube. I'll drop those down into the description too. But you know, I love it. You know, it was a cute little system, and if you're into retro gaming, definitely give it a try. Check it out. This is a Nintendo GameCube review years later. I'm your man, Gillis the Kid. I want to thank you for watching. If you have any comments, you know, just let me know what you think of the Nintendo GameCube. Did you like it, or, you know, did you just forget about it and go straight for the Wii? It didn't sell too well, though. I think it sold about 22 million or something like that. But that's not a lot when you compare it to the PlayStation 2, which sold about 140 million. But that's all I got for now. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for more. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.